Welcome to ClubhouseNews.com. You're tuned in to Clubhouse News Weekend for our top 13 news stories of 2013. I'm Sophia Dumani, and here are the top 13 headlines that rocked our world this past year.
Number 13.
Yep, these unmanned robots are becoming increasingly popular, and we're not just talking about the Predator drones that the military uses. There are robotic bees, or robo-bees, being developed by Harvard University, which may help prevent food shortages caused by dying bee populations. Without the black and yellow buzzing insects, crops like apples, broccoli, melons, and berries won't be pollinated, and then we'll have some serious trouble putting together a nice salad.
Now let's eat!
Now, if your household is a mess, mini robot cleaner drones called MAB may one day tidy things up. Want to receive a package quicker? Well, there are delivery drones being developed by Amazon.com that will one day bring boxes right to your house. Now that's special delivery.
Number 12.
You've all heard of printers that print on paper. Well, how about printers that print out human body parts? Superhuman hearing is being developed by Princeton University researchers who can print out an extrasensory ear with a 3D printer. Made of a gooey and rubbery material, the bionic ear can hear a wider range than normal humans. Need an eye? Bionic eyeballs like the Argus 2 can one day give blind people the ability to see. For super arm strength, the Titan arm developed by University of Pennsylvania students provides an exoskeleton that can lift an extra 40 pounds. While humans with missing legs can now command their synthetic limb to move, as the Chicago Center for Biotic Medicine has proven with its mind-controlled biotic leg. Now, if I can only get myself a bionic brain.
Number 11.
Robots and automation are taking the place of humans in all kinds of things, from driving your car to herding cows. There's a military robot, Big Dog, which is a horse-sized machine that can trot up rough terrain while carrying supplies for soldiers. Then there's Wildcat, the fastest robot ever at a speed of 16 miles per hour. Then there's the jellyfish terminators called Jellyfish Elimination Robotic Swarm, or JEROS for short, which are cleaning up the ocean by grinding up stinging creatures in their propellers. Ouch. While the undersea turtle robot created by the Center for Biorobotics allows archaeologists to explore hard-to-reach places.
All right, we're here, dudes! Get ready! Your exit's coming up, man!
Okay, how about more everyday type of robots, like ones that can help me with my homework, maybe? Well, there's the artist robot who can draw, the crime-fighting robot that can patrol the streets and scan for danger, the cow-herding robot that might replace cattle dogs in the farming fields, and the car-building robot that can also bake cookies. While speaking of cars, there's a whole lot of self-driving vehicles coming soon, like Google's unmanned taxi or the driverless pods that England is rolling out in 2017 to chauffeur people around town. Homeward, robot.
Manual override engaged.
Number 10.
Countries around the world, from the United States to India, are all excited about the big red planet. This year, we learned that Mars may have once had water on it, and where there's water, there's life. So, are there or were there ever Martians?
It is. Oh, Peachy, a new form of primitive life. And look, it's leaving its nest. I've never witnessed a fledgling leaving its nest before.
NASA launched its Maven Explorer to Mars in mid-November, not long after India launched its first ever Mars mission. What better way to explore the mysteries of Martian life than with bouncy robotic snakes or the crater-jumping Mars hopper? One thing's for sure, Mars has a big red spotlight shining on it. And if you're wondering what it might be like to live on the red planet, a company called Mars One is working on completing the first human Mars colonies by 2023, along with hosting a Mars reality TV show that's already received 100,000 applications. But guess what? It's a one-way ticket.
Think how strong we would be. Earth and Mars together.
Number 9.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play.
And now for space travel, for non-astronauts like you and I. Inventor Elon Musk, who's created everything from PayPal to electric Tesla cars, made huge strides this year with his rocket company, SpaceX. Their reusable Grasshopper spacecraft experiments have successfully launched rockets straight up into the air and then landed them safely back down on the ground. Being able to reuse expensive rockets is paving the way for cheap human space travel. If strapping on some space gear in a bouncing rocket sounds a bit scary, a company called Worldview Enterprises is developing a balloon ride that can take passengers 19 miles above the planet. The spacecraft, lifted by a massive balloon, can carry 6 people at a time and will stay way up high for 2 hours. Tickets aren't cheap though. They'll most likely sell for around $75,000 a pop. However, that's pretty affordable compared to X-Corp Aerospace, who charges $95,000 a ride, and Virgin Galactic, who asks for $250,000 a ride.
Number 8.
Hillary Clinton officially stepped down in February as U.S. Secretary of State, making way for the current Secretary of State, John Kerry. The U.S. Secretary of State is the nation's top diplomat, responsible for building good relations with foreign countries and applying political pressure to control uncooperative governments. However, Kerry's already received more positive praise in the past few months than Clinton did in 4 years. Who knows, maybe she'll keep him around if she becomes president.
Number 7.
Whether all the nutty phenomenon this year was due to global climate change or crazy natural coincidences, there were some seriously record-breaking weather events. Antarctica set a low temperature record of negative 135.8 degrees. July was the single hottest month since humans began tracking weather. There's 10,000 walruses huddling on a shrinking island in the Arctic because of melting ice, and several U.S. cities saw their December heat records broken this year. Wow. That's not even mentioning all the natural disasters that swept the world in 2013, like when Typhoon Haiyan hit the Philippines in November with all-time record-breaking winds nearing 200 miles per hour, making it the strongest tropical cyclone on record to make landfall. China was hit by Typhoon Usagi with over 100-mile-per-hour winds in September, as Hong Kong braced for the worst storm in 30 years. Even the dryness of the leaves caused havoc, as Yosemite National Park burned in August in a massive wildfire, and the Australian bushfires threatened to create a mega fire in October. Good gosh, with all the crazy weather this year, some experts are even predicting that the winter might be the coldest one yet.
Freezing my tail off. But how do we know it's an ice age? Because of all the ice! Liar, liar, pants on fire hanging.
Number 6.
Squirming, pants are burning. When I lie, my hips start turning.
Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Did you ever blood dope or use blood transfusions to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
It's safe to say that this year was not a good year to be a cheater in sports. Like cycling champion Lance Armstrong and New York Yankees star baseball player Alex Rodriguez after they were caught using performance-enhancing drugs, or PEDs. Lance Armstrong, who battled cancer and went on to win the Tour de France a record 7 times, finally admitted this January to Oprah Winfrey on her show that he did in fact use banned substances during his cycling career, after lying about it for years and making the lives of those who exposed him miserable. His 7 wins were stripped from him, and major sponsors like Nike pulled their support from Lance's cancer charity, the Livestrong Foundation, leaving the once legendary and highly respected cyclist in disgrace. Even a film documentary originally called The Road Back about Armstrong's comeback from retirement was changed to The Armstrong Lie to focus on his cheating. You'd think such a public embarrassment would discourage other athletes from believing that they can get away with cheating, but not Alex Rodriguez, the popular New York Yankees baseball player, also known as A-Rod. A-Rod denied using human growth hormone PEDs from the anti-aging clinic Biogenesis in January as MLB and federal investigators began looking into the possibility. In July, A-Rod took on his accusers publicly, denying that he used such drugs. But on August 5th, A-Rod was officially suspended for 211 games through the 2014 season for PED usage. He still plans on appealing the decision, but one thing's for sure. It doesn't matter how big, famous, rich, or powerful you are, cheating doesn't pay.
I can't lie!
Commendable, Mr. Reed, but I'm still waiting to hear good cause. Now, do you have one or not?
Not!
Number 5.
Coming in at number 5 is the launch, or rather mislaunch, of the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare. Originally signed into law by President Barack Obama on March 23, 2010, the Affordable Care Act promised to make health insurance affordable and accessible for all Americans. It promised to cover those with pre-existing conditions and keep kids on their families' policies until the age of 25. All worthwhile and commendable goals, except for one thing. So far, President Obama and Secretary of Human Health Services Kathleen Sebelius, who's in charge of implementing Obamacare, seem to have no idea how to get the job done.
Consider using our low-res website with simpler fonts and graphics.
From broken websites to broken promises.
If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your private health insurance plan, you can keep your plan. Period. Period. Period.
Healthcare.gov, which launched on October 1st, has been, well, a disaster, leading even strong supporters and President Barack Obama himself to express their disappointment.
And there's no sugarcoating it. The website has been too slow. People have been getting stuck during the application process. And I think it's fair to say that nobody's more frustrated by that than I am.
And while the president and his staff tried desperately to fix the website, and more importantly, to salvage what he views as his signature achievement, one thing is for sure. Obamacare, in its present form, is sickly and unhealthy. Is there a doctor in the house?
Is there a doctor in the house?
I'm a doctor.
What's up, Doc?
Number 4.
Turns out our government has been spying on not only other countries, both friendly and not so friendly, but on our own citizens as well. This all became public knowledge when Edward Snowden, a contracted employee of our spy organization, the National Security Agency, or NSA, leaked secret documents, which he stole, about its activities. Published in May by several media sources, the stolen documents, millions of them, detail the NSA's spying practices, from listening in on foreign leaders' private phone calls to hacking into American citizens' emails, all in the name of national security. Some think that Snowden, who is currently hiding out in Russia, should be brought back to the United States and put on trial for espionage and treason, while others think he's a hero for exposing these possibly illegal activities of our own government. Whatever your point of view, one thing's for certain. The United States government is spying on virtually everyone, and that's no secret. So remember, anything you put on social media or send in a text, well, you never know who may be seeing it. Big Brother may be watching, or worse yet, your parents.
But I will be watching you, studying your every move.
Number 3.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Every American who's old enough can remember where they were on November 22nd, 1963, the day President Kennedy was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald in Dallas, Texas. And while JFK had only been president for less than 3 years at the time of his death, this youngest elected president and our first Catholic president challenged Americans to be their best and to give of themselves to their country.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
In his short presidency, he avoided World War III with Russia by putting an end to the Cuban Missile Crisis, fought for civil rights, and launched our space program, promising to put a man on the moon by the end of the 1960s. which we did.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
But perhaps JFK's greatest accomplishment was the hope he inspired in millions of ordinary Americans. And to this day, Kennedy is remembered as one of the most inspirational leaders of our time.
Number 2.
You will all be welcome to attend those historic victory celebrations.
Our number 2 story is the death of Nelson Mandela, the black leader responsible for ending the terrible racial segregation practice called apartheid in South Africa. Working as a lawyer, he was arrested numerous times for fighting for black rights against the white-controlled government, even serving 27 years in prison. But when he was released in 1990, rather than promoting violence or looking for revenge, he preached positive relations and inclusion, earning him the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 for his efforts. Then in 1994, he negotiated with South African President F.W. de Klerk to end apartheid. The following year, Mandela became South Africa's first black president. His intelligence, humble personality, and cooperative spirit turned Mandela into a symbol of justice, not only in South Africa, but in the world. When he died at the age of 95 in December, more than 90 world leaders gathered to mourn his passing, and the international community remembers his powerful legacy fondly.
His struggle was your struggle. His triumph was your triumph.
And now, number 1.
And for our biggest story of the year, Pope Francis. When Pope Benedict XVI stunned the world in February, becoming the first pope to resign as leader of the Catholic Church in almost 600 years, they needed a new leader for the world's 1.2 billion Catholics, and not another stodgy old man in a funny hat that rides around in a Pope-mobile. When they elected Jorge Mario Bergoglio, a 76-year-old cardinal from Argentina, as Pope, they got more than they bargained for. Taking on the name Pope Francis in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi, a patron of the poor, Francis has catapulted the Catholic Church into the 21st century. This former nightclub bouncer who travels by bus and cooks his own meals is truly a man of the people. The first pope in history from the Americas, Pope Francis, the 2013 Time Magazine Person of the Year, is an inspiration and role model, not only to the world's Catholics, but to all people of all faiths around the world. Long live the Pope. And there you have it, the top 13 of 2013. I'm Sophia Dumani with Clubhouse News. Thanks for watching and have a great new year. Bye.